first glance, Black Ops 4 this week seems kind of standard. You just go about your business and play your games, rank up, whatever it may be, but the interesting part is that it actually might surprise us. There's a number of different things that aren't necessarily confirmed, but may see the light of day starting as of this week. So as always with our Monday series of the things to look out for, today we're going to be taking a look at 8 different things that are either confirmed or may have a decent probability of either coming to the light of day or actually happening as of this week. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. So first thing up, there are 2 things that are really confirmed for this week, and the one that has much larger value than the other. We'll get to the second one in just a minute, but the first one being that of the market refresh for Blackjack's shop and the items that you'll end up seeing in there. That's of course just the standard. It happens every single Tuesday for the weekly items. Then you have your special orders, which are now on a weird like 12-day rotation or something like that. But we've got 2 things to look out for with this in particular. Firstly, the fact that of course we do have new items coming to the shop as of tomorrow. PlayStation 4 just recently got that Distraction Nomad uniform, again, a part of that weird 12-day rotation that will be coming later to Xbox One and PC as of this week. But we also have things that may be coming in the way of stuff that we haven't seen just yet, such as that MOG 12 Police Mastercraft, the Space Shuttle Cordite that was data mined, Misty for Blackout as a character there. She might not be a special order, but instead maybe a shop item, like how we saw that Ultimate's TAC was as of last season, the Crash Magnum PI Tom Selleck lookalike skin from the key art, and the Detective uniform for Seraph, plus maybe a bunch of other things that may be coming as well. But those are the big key ticket items we've already seen in trailers, the key art, and so on and so forth. And of course, throw that in and compound it with the possibilities that we have camos like other reactives or just ones that are on every single weapon like the Benjamin's camo is. That's all stuff to consider that may be coming to the shop as of tomorrow, and then of course a week later for Xbox One and PC. The second thing to consider though and look out for this is how they're going to handle the shop refreshes, because as it stands right now, we have 2 actual pages of the items that you can cycle in between either the featured items or even the special orders. You can end up using your triggers to end up cycling through page 1 and 2 of both of those, in which it cycles through the first 2 weeks of items. And so that is something to consider, that maybe they end up adding a 3rd page instead of refreshing things out, which if that's the case, that could indicate a big change for how this shop is handled at its core fundamental level. It might hint at the ability of absolutely 0 wipes coming, and thus removing the chance of missing out on a skin, a camo, whatever it may be in that shop. Because in the past, say you really wanted that Paladin variant, there was a special order. If you weren't able to log on, you were on a work trip or on vacation, you were doing whatever, and you couldn't make it to your console, you had limited time to actually get that, and then limited chances outside of that initial window. But if this replaces that, and you can then just cycle through all the items that we've seen through the entire duration of the event, that's absolutely huge. You could theoretically buy, say, the Benjamin's camo, the week 1 item, on the last week of the event. That'd be absolutely massive for how the shop itself works, again, on that core fundamental level. But outside of that, the only other thing that was also confirmed here for this week is the fact that we end up seeing the current League Play event will be ending in 2 days and a few hours in change. So that means that you'll have that downtime and down period, that you'll have a rank readjustment, and it's going to consider all that. Then it'll factor in the rewards and all things that go along with it. But if you're somebody into the competitive scene, that's going to be something that changes out in just a few days as well. So keep that in mind and keep your eyes open for that. But now we start to get into the stuff that again is a little bit more speculative. I know there's not all that much confirmed, but some of the stuff is likely, probable, and has happened before as of a regular refresh. So let's talk a little bit about that kind of stuff. Firstly, let's talk about the game modes in MP. It's very possible we end up seeing some of these change out. One of the Chamber has been there for PlayStation 4 for 2 weeks now at this point, and so therefore, being that it has had a full week on Xbox One and PC, plus that 2 weeks on PlayStation 4, it has kind of fulfilled its time of when we see normal modes refresh out. We usually see, because they do end up going at the same time on all platforms, they'll have about a week of life and then switch out. So it might be that time where it now goes, in which we have, according to the actual roadmap for Operation Grand Heist, the modes of Infected, Fracture, Prop Hunt, and others, among one that is at the forefront where everybody is interested in hearing more about it, seemingly, is Bare Bones. And that's one that I'd actually expect to be coming more so sooner than the other ones, especially if there's a title update on our hands, which we'll talk about in just a second. But Bare Bones promises some classic gameplay as it's described, plus no specialists. And for a lot of players, that is an ideal situation here for this kind of stuff. And while, of course, Black Ops 4 is fundamentally based around those specialists, for many, that combo of having a lethal and a tactical guaranteed every single game at least once, it comes down to a point that brings the gameplay itself down, because it's almost a participation medal that ends up giving players free kills and free points alike. But regardless of how you feel about it, Bare Bones is something that is going to be coming, and with it being talked about so much, I kind of am inclined to think it's coming quicker than the other ones, and maybe even as of this week. I don't know if I'd put money on that one just yet, but it's certainly something to keep your eyes open for. Additionally, with the introduction of League Play on all platforms now, everybody has had a League Play for a little bit of time now, I wouldn't be surprised if the Pro Series mosh pit goes away and then we see things return like the Endurance or Chaos mosh pits, or maybe something even brand new outside of that. I'd be okay with that, but that's also something that now, seeing that League Play is implemented, the Pro Series mosh pit has served its purpose and may actually go away. Another thing to look out for is potentially a new limited time mode for Blackout. I don't know exactly what they're going to plan on doing with Hot Pursuit, because that seemingly is the bread and butter for the modes of Blackout this season, just by how heavy introduced it was in the marketing for Grand Heist. I mean, practically half of the event trailer itself dealt with Blackout and Grand Heist, with the vehicles and the cinematic shots that came along with it, but there's bound to be other things in the pipeline. And while we're approaching that 2-week mark of this weekend on PlayStation 4 for Hot Pursuit, it wouldn't surprise me again if it was either swapped out for, or if it's something that a new mode is introduced alongside Hot Pursuit, and Hot Pursuit kind of stays as that sort of permanent mode throughout Grand Heist. We haven't seen any limited time modes outside of the brief period of time between that changeover of Absolute Zero and Grand Heist, in which we saw 2 solo limited time modes of Ambush as well as Close Quarters Frenzy, but it would certainly be interesting to have multiple choices for limited time modes. But also, we still have Hardcore Blackout coming out at some point, so that's something to consider as well, and maybe that's also something that's thrown in the mix here. But again, none of that is confirmed. Additionally, outside of that, coming along to the 5th thing here at this, I think that we might actually start to see some ramp up in terms of promo, or even just a teaser of some sorts for Shamrock and Awe. This was something that from the beginning here, from the get-go, out of that roadmap, we ended up seeing we'd have Operation Shamrock and Awe return in Black Ops 4 for a 3rd year straight. We saw it in World War II, as well as Modern Warfare Remastered, so it's no surprise that it is coming back, but we theorized that it would be coming as of March 12th, so not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday, because the initial launch has lined up out of the past years for Shamrock and Awe and Modern Warfare Remastered that it was on the 14th and then the 13th for World War II, in which that ended up making the Tuesday before St. Patrick's Day every single year that we've seen this so far. So that makes the prime suspect for this year being Tuesday the 12th, because St. Patrick's Day falls on Sunday the 17th. So with that being the case, we may start to see some sort of ramp up for a bit of promo that may happen towards the end of the week, or even as of next Monday afternoon at some point. But that also means we're getting closer to when we may see some content, including some thematic things around either a map that may be given for free. I'm really hopeful. I don't know if it'll happen at all. We saw those thematic changes of Seaside as well as Firing Range, so maybe that happens again here with this, but we'll probably end up seeing, at the very bare minimum, some thematic character uniforms, some camos, as well as the introduction of maybe even that Demo Hammer and Mini 14 DLC weapons that were data mined within the game files a couple of weeks ago at this point. So that's something to consider, and we might actually start to see some promo for it here in the next week. Outside of that, though, the next thing that I want to consider as something that may come is that of a new title update. We know of some things that are on the horizon. Yes, we have content still coming at some point, so 1.14 in terms of that game update is coming at some point. It's just a matter of when. As of recently, we've seen some things come out in terms of details that we had absolutely no idea were in the works. One such thing being that Matt Schrontz over on Reddit confirmed that one of those things coming was the ability to use the emote wheel whenever you win a game. So instead of it just going completely still where you can't really do much in terms of your menus, you can still walk around for a brief period of time, you'll actually be able to emote as a sort of winning gesture, if you will, in the next update, to which he said that is coming soon. So while it doesn't give any time indication, it means that it is close to completion and close to being rolled out. But we also have to consider the fact that there may be 2 ways to go about this, being that 1, there is new content on the horizon, so it may come down to either tomorrow, but maybe if it is something that includes that Shamrock and Awe event, it might be a safer bet to consider next Tuesday, not this upcoming Tuesday. But I'm also not putting it out of the realms of possibility for tomorrow because, as we know, we're likely going to get something later down the line for zombies, and that's being theorized about right around the date of the 26th. We'll come back to that in just a second. And so we don't really usually see title updates on a larger scale dropped in consecutive weeks. Outside of the initial launch window of the first month to fix things like weapon balancing and spawns and all that kind of stuff that are subjected to mass testing on a live environment once you push it out to the global masses, things are usually scaled more so for that 2-week marketing window that Activision likes to follow, in which things are released at minimum 2 weeks apart to let content, additions of any kind, and changes made to have some breathing room. And especially with these exclusivity factors now only being 1 week rather than a month apart, we don't normally see those title updates dropping on consecutive weeks. So it looks like in March we're going to see 1.14 and 1.15, but I don't know if I'd expect that as of this week or next week for 1.14. So I guess we'll definitely see how that plays out, especially as of tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. If we get an update, that's pretty awesome, but if not, it's likely to come sometime in the near future. But outside of that, the final thing I want to discuss here is some things that later on the horizon. We'll wrap this up real briefly because there's not really all that much to tie in as a certain lock-in for this week, but we still have a Zombies teaser probably coming at some point, and also that Zombies map later in the month. We again discussed that it's likely to come as of Tuesday, March 26th, because the outline of the roadmap details March for PlayStation 4, but the Xbox One companion app actually ended up saying April. So that kind of means that that exclusivity is going to release it in April for Xbox One and PC, but PlayStation 4 users get it in March. So a week window, we can kind of pinpoint it being the 26th. As well, we still have things to look out for, like the Blackout Redacted event. We don't exactly know if that's going to launch with Shamrock and all. I would probably guess it's more so in relation to the Zombies content, so it is a timed release with that, because we'll probably be seeing Alcatraz introduced, and also maybe even a nighttime map at that point. So we'll see how all that breaks down, and I still really want to know why Casino is not in private matches yet. I definitely think there's an Easter egg tied with that, but otherwise, that's where we're at here at this one, and that's going to conclude the things to look out for this week. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts down there in the comment section down below. Did I miss anything in particular? Are you guys looking forward to anything of your own? Whatever it may be, feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, but hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you drop a like down below, and of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Black Ops 4, MP, Blackout, Zombies. We got you covered for the best of updates, news, information, tips, tricks, all that good stuff. So if any of it interests you, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. If you guys also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected from outside of YouTube. I can live on both those, so if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. That said, thank you guys all so much for watching. Mine is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care, and peace.